my lovelies. Today, I am cooking dinner to take to my son at his work. There are 6 or 7, I think, guys there that I'm going to feed today, and I want to take them my bacon-covered meatloaf. It is plain. There's no chopped onions or bell peppers, but it is delicious. You have got to try this recipe. It is a crowd pleaser. Let me show you how to make it. Okay, let's get started. I've got my big school bowl out, and I'm going to get my meat ready. I bought this meat from Brown's Market. It is a butcher shop in Spartanburg, and it is so good, so fresh. I got 2.3 pounds of ground chuck. That's what we're starting with. And then I bought 2 hamburger patties that they sell. They sell them frozen, and it is the 3 or 4 meat blend. It has some pork, some brisket, I think, and 2 other types of meat. Of course, it does have some ground beef in it. So I just laid it out in my refrigerator for a couple days, and it thawed. So now I'm just going to blend those 2 meats together. Take your paper out from between the patties, of course. So I took all my rings off. So the best tools to use for meatloaf is, of course, your hands. Now let me throw that paper away. Then we're going to come back and add our remaining ingredients. Like I said, I'm feeding my son's work today. And this is Bryson's favorite meal. Okay, I'm going to take 2 packs of the Lipton onion soup mix. And y'all, I tried the Great Value brand, or maybe it was the Ingles supermarket brand, and I did not like it as good. You know, some things you just can't use the store brand. So for this amount of meat, I'm using 2 packets of the Lipton onion soup mix. Get every little bit out of there. Now let's add in packet number 2. And let me say, I am cooking a lot, so you can definitely have this recipe. I'm putting probably 2 tablespoons of the Dove sauce. Now this is when, if you don't have picky eaters and if you like onions and green bell peppers, you can add them in there. Now we're going to take our ketchup, and I'm going to add about 1.5 cups. There are really no set in stone measurements, so you can add as much or as little as you like. Now, I like using 1 sleeve of saltine crackers crushed up. You can also use breadcrumbs. I've even used Ritz crackers before, but my favorite is like my grandma did, and it's using 1 sleeve of saltine crackers. So you just crush them right up in the bowl. Sometimes it's good just to stick with the basics. Then we're going to season this up really well. So I'll just tell you a fun fact. My son, my husband, my almost son-in-law, they all have birthdays in January. So this is the meal they request. The bacon-topped meatloaf. We have it so many times in January, we get sick of it. You've got to try it, though. It is a good meatloaf for picky eaters, since it's just got the basic, simple ingredients. All right, let's go in with some onion powder. Season till your heart tells you to stop. Next, I'm going to add some garlic powder. Season with your heart. We don't need any salt. The Lipton soup mix had lots of salt, so we're good there, as well as the saltine crackers. Here's my favorite all-purpose barbecue seasoning. It is the Boon Jugs blend. We love it. So I add probably a good tablespoon in there of that. You can get it online at boonjugsbarbecue.com. Now let me rinse my hands off. All right, 2 eggs. These are fresh from the chickens. And I know you're supposed to add them into a separate bowl and then pour them in. Just do as I say right here, not as I do, maybe. And y'all, do you use your box? Oh, got a little piece of shell. Let's get that out. That's where the cracking it in a separate bowl comes in handy. I use my Lipton onion soup box as my trash box. Do y'all do that? I do it when I make a cake. Whatever, that's my trash box. All right, now let's get whole milk and add 1 cup. Nobody likes a dry meatloaf. All right, get your hands ready and mix it up really, really, really well. You can use a fork. I guess you could even use a mixer. I don't know, but hands are the best tools. Use what God gave you. Tell me your favorite go-to meal. What's your kids' birthday meal or your husband's favorite birthday meal? Ours, in fact, all the guys anyway, is this bacon-wrapped meatloaf. You know, I've even heard some people call it a death row meal. What would be the last meal you would want if it was your last meal? Okay, looks like everything is coming together. Let's get our pan ready. Now, you can make this in the traditional meatloaf pan, but I usually make it in a 9x13. So just kind of shape it. You don't need to grease your pan. This meat has plenty of fat in it. So you just shape it into a square or a loaf. I always like to get mine pretty even around the sides, but I like it to have a little dip in the middle, like a little lower in the middle. That's where we're gonna put our ketchup on top of here. Now, I just use ketchup because, like I say, my guys like it kind of plain. You can mix ketchup and mustard. You can even put some brown sugar in there, but we like it with just ketchup on the top. So just make sure it's even so it'll cook well and evenly, with a little dip in the center. And again, see how your hands are just the best tools you've got. I like a little lip all around the edges, I guess you would call it, to hold all that good sauce in there. All right, let me go wash my hands and we'll move on to the next step. Once you try this, you will be hooked. Even people that don't like meatloaf per se like this recipe because it's got the simple ingredients and the simple flavors. Nothing fancy. Sometimes I think people try to add too many ingredients. That's better. And it just messes it up. Sometimes plain and simple is the best way. Now look at this. Again, I got this from Brown's Butcher Shop in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It is some fresh cut bacon. This is what sends this meatloaf over the edge. We're gonna top it with ketchup and then put the bacon on. When I tell you that bacon, as it cooks, those juices, aka bacon fat, aka liquid gold, runs down and makes this meat so moist. And y'all that don't like that word, grow up. It makes it so moist. So, take a spoon, spread your ketchup all over the top. Get it in a very even layer. Then we're going to put our bacon right on top of that. You want your bacon to touch, but not overlap. That way, as it bakes, it will get crispy. So my oven is already preheated to 350, and it depends on how big of a meatloaf you have, but normally I cook mine for around 45 minutes to an hour. I always just take a little taste out of the middle after about an hour and make sure it's done. You can always use a meat thermometer, but I just kind of spread my bacon apart right there in the middle, get a little taste, make sure there's no pink. Nobody will ever know. So you lay your bacon, like I say, you want it to touch but not overlap. And this bacon is just a little bit too long, so I'm just gonna pull off the ends. Yes, I know it would be easier if I would have got a knife and cut the ends off, but hey, using our God-given hands again. Those pieces will not go to waste, let me tell you. We can fry the rest of this leftover bacon and make us a good BLT sandwich. So now I'm just gonna kind of bring it down because I think I can get one more piece of bacon in there. Y'all, I'm telling you, try this recipe. And now that all is in there, you just kind of tuck the ends under your meat or just push them down in there really well. And we're gonna put it in the oven at 350, like I said, for about an hour. Product. Max is going to test it for us.
All right, baby, here we go. Oh, man. That's all I got to say right there, baby. Get back down on it. Get back down on it, baby. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing, baby.
Woohoo!
My God.